Saturn, or L, in and of itself is representative of the dark side. Saturn embodies chaos and destruction, along with death and even banking. It is a cruel and destructive force that demands worship and blood sacrifice. Saturn seeks to hold humanity back from love and enlightenment, symbolised by Uranus, and instead inhibit. The six-pointed star is the symbol for the negative force, which is why the term "I'll put a hex on you" may be used by anyone who wishes to curse or cast a spell on somebody. Saturn, or L, is associated with the colour black, especially black cubes or squares and black robes, called Geneva robes. The wearing of rings comes from the worship of Saturn, and the Lord of the Rings itself is Saturn. Another name for this god was Kronos, and so the wearing of Kronos, or crowns, on the head is once again a Saturnian practice. Saturn is also seen as our father time and the sole generator of Isis, or perhaps Mother Nature. The ancient Hindus' name for God or the father was Rain. This was because the earth was Mother Nature, who would be impregnated by the father sacred fluid rain, causing everything to grow. Because of this, in ancient Phoenicia Cana, from where we get our banking elites, there was a yearly celebration every spring for when the rain comes. The celebration was a feast called the Marriage Feast of Cana. So, now that we have fully established that Saturn, or L, is representative of the dark side and the god that inhibits, and the fact that the elites are and have been for a long time in tune with the Saturnian control system, Saturn and Satan are the very same dark force. Saturn was the Egyptian Seth, which means adversary, as does Satan. In this regard, they are Satanists, which is the same as saying they're Satanists. Interestingly, the old Roman holiday of Saturnalia would come to an end where presents and gifts were exchanged on December the 25th. Now we of course have Christmas on December the 25th, where presents are given by Santa, which is an anagram of Satan, which brings us back full circle to Saturn. Another name for Santa is Father Christmas. Saturn is of course the father. A good example of Saturnian forces versus good forces, as in the sun, is Star Wars. Luke, or Lucius Skywalker, as in Horace's 12 steps across the sky, so spiritual enlightenment, versus Darth Vader, representing the dark side, the Saturnian forces, because he wears a black robe and talks through a Masonic pyramid. Keep in mind though that Darth Vader is a character that has a knowledge of the Force, or the dark side, as opposed to being ignorant of it. And this will become more relevant later, and I'll touch on this at that time. For now, I'll just focus back on the ritual of 9/11 itself. So, just a brief summary here. Jacques and Bois, or Severity and Mercy, came down, evoking the middle pillar, the equilibrium, the hermaphrodite, Solomon's temple, whatever you want to call it. The pillar was the spherical caryatid. We also know that all the reoccurring numbers on 9/11 are associated with Aleister Crowley and the occult, so 11, 175, 77 and 93. And on the ancient Roman calendar, 9/11 becomes 7/11, which you can once again deduce a 77 from, because 7 times 11 is of course 77. As I previously disclosed, September 11th can easily equate to 7/11, and 7/11 gives us 77, the number of Pan. A now infamous video that surfaced a few years ago shows George Bush sitting in a classroom having the kids, and kids is a word for baby goats by the way, he has the kids read the book The Pet Goat while he held the book upside down. Now, unless Bush thinks that he is a bat, this is a little odd. However, it is a commonly known fact that Satanists like to do things upside down or in reverse, which Crowley also advocated. So, to begin with, Bush sat with his upside down book, The Pet Goat, in a class full of elementary school children on the morning of 9/11, while they read out as he watched on. First, let us rewind back a little and see for ourselves just what happened that morning in the classroom. The class teacher began by pointing out words on the board which the children would then collectively verbalise, presumably from the book The Pet Goat. Then videos began to surface on the internet showing that what the kids seemed to be chanting was kite, hit, still, plane, must. However, it has since come to light that what they were actually chanting was kite, kit, still, plane, must. So, does this make the incident in question irrelevant or innocent? Well, quite the opposite. Although the words that were chanted that morning were at least allegedly kite, kit, still, and playing, they still sound exactly like kite, hit, still, and plane. This is of quite some importance for reasons that I'll now disclose. Simply by watching someone like Derren Brown, you'll see that when communicating something to someone on a subliminal level, all that matters is the sound that the subconscious mind perceives. For example, plane can become plane, kit can become hit. This is one of the most basic forms of elementary neuro-linguistic programming. What we are seeing with these incantations is the planting of an event into the subconscious and therefore into consciousness itself. But for what reason? Well, this I'll explore later. But for now, here is a video that's been floating around for a while showing what happened in the classroom that day. In this video you will see the incantations which I'll highlight as they're spoken.
Get ready to read all these words on this page without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready.
Kite.
Yes, kite. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready.
Kid.
Yes, kid. Sound it out. Get ready.
Kid.
Sound it out. Get ready.
Kid.
What word?
Kid.
Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready.
Seal.
What word?
Seal.
Yes, steel. Read these words the fast way. Get ready.
Plane.
Yes, plane. Get ready.
Must.
Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready.
Kite.
Yes, kite. Get ready.
Kit.
Yes, kit. Get ready.
Seal.
Yes, steel. Get ready.
Plane.
Yes, plane. Get ready.
Must.
Yes, must. Boys and girls, pick your reader up from under your seat. Open your book up to lesson 60 on page 153.
Before we watch the rest of the video, keep in mind that directly as the kids set up, the Chief of Staff informs Bush that the second plane has flown into the South Tower. This means that the plane at the tower, as the kids chanted, plane must fly hit still, plane must. The plane hit at 9:03 AM, and we all know the significance of 93. Bush was informed that 9:06 AM. The plane hit between the 77th, which is of course the number of Pan, and the 85th floors, 8 add 5 being 13. So the book being read on the morning of 9/11 was The Pet Goat, sometimes referred to as My Pet Goat. Before we continue with the reading of The Pet Goat in the classroom, let's just get a brief history and a background on the book itself. The Pet Goat story is not a book in and of itself. It is a story contained in a book called Reading Mastery 2, Storybook 1, authored by Siegfried Engelmann and Elaine C. Bruner. It uses a style of teaching known as direct instruction, which is a term for the explicit teaching of a skill or a set using either lectures or demonstrations of the material rather than exploratory models or methods of teaching, such as inquiry-based learning, which takes a more philosophical approach to teaching and it assesses progress of the student based on how well he or she developed experimental and analytical skills, rather than simply how much knowledge can be accumulated by the student. So the direct instruction method is a kind of do what you're told, repeat, repeat, repeat style of teaching, as opposed to a think for yourself, analytical style of teaching. As far as the authors go, could find little information on Elaine C. Bruner. However, there was a little on Siegfried Engelmann. Engelmann was an advocate of the direct instruction method and specialised in the more psychological aspects of teaching. Amongst other publications, Engelmann has co-authored a book with Donald Stearley called Inferred Functions of Performance and Learning. This book, based on the description, begins with an analysis of what functions and systems must exist for any organism or machine to perform an unlearned act. That is, with an analysis of what must be wired into that organism or machine once the basics of unlearned responding have been established. The description goes on to state that this work is of interest to various practitioners engaged in analysing and creating behaviour: the phonologist, the instructional designer, the learning psychologist, the physiologist, the neurobiologist, and particularly the designer of intelligent machines. So, I think it's fair to say that Engelmann specialised in psychological areas. The book Reading Mastery 2 Storybook 1 was published by S.R.A. Macmillan, Early Childhood Education Division of McGraw-Hill. The McGraw-Hill Companies Incorporated is a publicly traded corporation headquartered in Rockefeller Center in New York. Its primary areas of business are education, publishing, broadcasting, and financial and business services. Well, for those up to speed with the nefarious activities of the Rockefeller and other banking elitist families, this may ring some alarm bells. So, returning back to the story of the pet goat, it is about a girl's pet goat that eats everything in its path. The girl's parents want to get rid of the goat, but she defends it, and in the end, the goat becomes a hero when it butts a car robber into submission. Returning back to where we previously left off in the classroom on the morning of 9/11, after Bush had received word of the plane hitting the South Tower, he remained seated and he listened as the class began to read The Pet Goat, the teacher tapping her board between every word. Now, I won't go into every detail of this story, but I'll simply highlight what I believe to be a significance in relation to the events of 9/11. Here are the elements of the story that I wish to highlight. The goat ate things. He ate cans and he ate canes and he ate pans and he ate pains.
That up, get ready for with butt, get ready.
But the goat did something that made the girls that mad.
Go on,
The goat ate things.
go on.
He ate cans and he ate.
Try that again, get ready.
He ate